Welcome to another Saturday night and taking it to the nub. Tonight, I have something really special for you. Tony Gomez. You might know Tony, especially even in the Texas area. You might know Tony from Espinosa Cigars. He sent shockwaves through the industry this past couple of weeks when he announced that he's moving from Espinosa to Jake Wyatt as the national sales director. So we're going to bring in Big Tony in just a moment. And when we're thinking about that, think about all the great cigars that are out there. You're going to learn about some Jake Wyatts tonight, and we'll talk some other things. But let us do a quick little advertising.
And today's show is brought to you by Bocock Brothers Cigars, a new and active brand founded by two Honduran brothers, Bryant and Douglas Bocock. The brand zeroes in on those folks that are looking for easy to smoke cigars inspired by unusual circumstances. Very importantly named after their very interesting and imitable last name, Bocock. Right now, Bocock Brothers is featuring their Signature Edition, made at the A.J. Fernandez factory in Esteli, Nicaragua. It features an Ecuadorian Sumatra wrapper, a Nicaraguan Habano binder, and a Nicaraguan filler. Available in three popular formats, a Robusto, a Toro, and a Gordo. You can check out Bocock Brothers Cigars at www.bocockbrothers.com. And today's show is brought to you by Platinum Nova Cigars. Platinum Nova is a family owned and operated premium cigar company. Only the highest vintage tobacco and the most skilled hand workmanship go into the making of each Platinum Nova cigar. This results in a timeless blend of art and craftsmanship. The Nova brand and the family's work are a tribute and an honor to their grandfather to always remember him and his infinite passion for the finest cigars. Their love for cigars started with their grandfather, a dedicated master blender and entrepreneur in the cigar industry. So the next time you're looking for that exquisite cigar experience, pick up a Platinum Nova. You can check them out at Platinum Nova Cigars, www.novacigar.com, and on their Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter channels.
This episode of Taking It to the Nub is sponsored by the Box Press Cigar app, the ultimate cigar smoking experience. With Box Pressed, you can easily catalog cigars with your own virtual humidor, quickly rate and record notes for any cigar using the Smoke Session feature, receive intelligent cigar recommendations based on your personal taste profile, and access exclusive discounts from top cigar brands. You can even shop your favorite cigars directly in the app, then automatically sync the order to your virtual humidor, plus so much more. Download BoxPress today by typing bxpr.sd/install into any web browser and discover the world of cigars like never before. That's bxpr.sd/install. And today's show is brought to you by All Saints Cigars, a company founded in 2019 and headed up by industry veteran Mickey Pegg and his two friends, Martin Corboy, a successful restaurateur, and Frank Leo, an Air Force Academy graduate military veteran. As Mickey explains it, they were all sitting down talking and smoking cigars, and finally they decided that they would do this thing together. It was time. Mickey said, I decided if I'm going to work hard at it, it should be something I love. Besides, a tough day with a cigar is better than a great day doing anything else. Soon after, they began the process of launching All Saints Cigars, jokingly referring to themselves as the Holy Trinity, St. Michael, St. Martin, and St. Francis. They chose for their logo the cross of St. James, the patron saint of Nicaragua, the country where their cigars would be produced. You can check out All Saints Cigars at www.allsaintscigars.com. All right. I want to thank everybody
for joining and those that are later going to have joined. I'm going to bring in Big Tony Gomez now from Jake Wyatt Cigars.
How we doing?
Tony. All right, all
Hey.
right. You know,
Good to be here, everybody.
welcome to the show. Welcome to Take the Nub. I'm trying to get you on for a while, and I don't know. You were so busy on your last job, and then you got nothing to do. You can come on my show now. I
Hey,
love it.
it's not that way at all, man. Are you
I
kidding
know.
me, man? I've got some things to do, but of course, there is always room in my schedule for Boston Jimmie, man. I wanted to make sure that when you reached out to me, I really did. I really felt bad because the last time we had something scheduled and something came up, and I wanted to make sure that you were so forgiving to let me back on. So thank you I apologize from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. You're such a gracious guy. You've always been supportive to the road warriors and the cigar companies out there. So Jimmie's out there putting in the work. So the least we could do is make sure to get on your show, man, and promote the Leaf, brother.
Well, I'm glad you're on.
Thank you so much.
I'm glad you're on. And as I did in the announcement, I'll say it again. You kind of sent out some shockwaves. I mean, the industry hasn't had this kind of shockwave in a little bit. And when you made the announcement that you're moving from Espinosa to Jake Wyatt, there was a lot of what?
Yeah, I got a lot of that. There was a lot of reactions. There was a lot of congratulations, and I got a lot of calls from within the industry. Jimmie, I had gotten calls this year from other companies, and Neil Garcia and I had known each other for a few years. We'd seen each other at the trade shows, and truth be told, I'm sure a lot of people don't know this, but the gentleman that owns the other part of the factory is a guy named Joel Marrero that I had worked with a long time ago down in the Dominican Republic. And so Jake Wyatt, they actually, they had looked at me a long time ago when they were started putting this thing together back in 2018. So we'd talked a long time ago, but this was in its this was back when it was taking shape a long time ago. But things happen, and Jack came along and made me an offer that, hey, I guess Vito Corleone style, or but I offer I couldn't refuse. I had to go. This was my shot at the big time, but a gracious offer it was. But I had been looked at by other companies also, and there had been a few inquiries, and I just didn't feel right. A guy my age, I just don't know. There's certain fits you see, and maybe I just didn't know I just didn't get a good feel or whatever. Sometimes you look at it and you don't know about gelling with certain styles. Anyway. But this was something that I saw, and the offer that was made, and when I say offer, I mean in a way of the task at hand of what they wanted to accomplish, and it felt right. I will forever be in debt to Jack and Eric for the things they taught me, Jack Tarano especially. And it was time for me to move on. It was time for me to conquer another chapter, and like what I said, in this industry that I love so much. And so we're just going to go wheels up and see if we could fly this bird as far as we can fly it, man.
You're going from a highly successful company that grew from small roots to something medium to large right now, owning his own factory and all of that and connections, to now going back to your roots, going back to a small factory, small company that it's time for them to grow. They've been it's been 4 years now since they launched. It was 2020, right?
right about 5 since conception, or about 6 since conception.
Okay.
So basically, they're entering their 5th year. So basically, what it is, they've set their foundation, and now it's time to move into the phase to where, they've taken their time, they've set their foundation, and now it's just time to move into that phase of what we like to call building a team. And so we're going to be going out. We're going to be looking to land other accounts. Now we're in some shops throughout the country. We are a lot of there are stores that we're in that a lot of people don't really know about. We do have a presence online, but we're wanting to build that as well. So there's marketing to be expanded, and there's a team to be expanded as well. So that's the whole thing. So that's where Neil and I are. That's what we're looking to build upon this year. So it's something that is a process that is going to be. It's going to take a little time. There are going to be some growing pains, of course. Anything that's done well it's going to take some time. So that's really what we're looking for. I looked at it as this was, I think, something that I can do. I think with the contacts that I have, with the people that I know, I think I have a good reputation within the industry. I think the combination of that, and with the skill and the technology skill, the tech skill that Neil has, I think it's a great combination. You put those two elements together, and I think you can come up with a winner. And I think that's what we're going to be able to do. So, they have a presence at the trade show. We have a factory, and a willingness to go out there and dig in and just go to it. If you look at the
let's break some of that. Let's break some of that down in pieces, though. There's a lot to talk about there. Let me reel it back a little bit. So we're gonna build, right? What would you say is your largest successful market right now in the country? What region?
Well, they're based on the West Coast. Okay. So, I went out this week and went out to the offices in Orange County, California, out in Lake Forest, out there by the Irvine area, which is a beautiful area, of course, which I didn't get to see much of, because, of course, whenever we do something in the industry, we either go from the hotel to the cigar lounges, back to the hotel, and then right to the airport. That's pretty much the way this trip was. It was straight from the airport to the offices to the hotel, and we got to go see the guys over at Small Batch, and which I ran into Miguel Shodell of all people, which that was great. I'm standing there, and all of a sudden I hear Big Tony Kobe, and it's Miguel Shodell. So of all people, so. Anyway,
somebody's keeping the transportation in business.
Absolutely. So, we do our share of it in the industry, don't we? So, but with that, what I learned was the markets that they were in, from up in Oregon down through Washington State and up and down the Pacific coastline. So, and then throughout the Southwest. Now that's what we're looking to build on. Also, they've got a good presence there, because that's, of course, where they started. Now they do have a presence in the Northeast. They do have a presence here. We have a small presence here in Texas already. The guys over at Industrial over in the Frisco area. And we do have some presence in Oklahoma. So we're looking to build upon that market there. If you were to say where our strongest market is, I would say the West Coast. So, because that's just, of course, natural. That's exactly where they are. But what they've done is they built up an online presence, and now they're looking to we're going to be looking for representation in the good old fashioned way. Of course, starting with brokers and such. When we find the right brokers, we'll put those into place.
How are you going to
in time.
balance that? How do you balance that? Okay, as national sales manager, are you responsible you're responsible for the brick and mortar equation? Or
Yeah,
so you're not responsible for the online part of it?
no, that present. I think what you do is you separate that by
Mm-hmm.
you've got your businesses that just go online, and of course,
Mm-hmm.
and then when you hand that off, you've got your guys that just do online, right? Your distributors, and you separate that. Now, we don't have like an online store to where we go direct, to where to consumer, because
Okay.
that's going to be cutting out. We don't want to cut out our
No.
we don't want to cut out
No, because
our brick and mortar.
if you were doing that, your job would be even harder because now you got to
Yeah,
explain why.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like, hey, why do you need me? Yeah, so basically, in situations like that, what I've always found is like, hey, where do you live? Where do you live? Where's the closest guy to you? You refer somebody. You always just refer somebody to somebody close to you, and that's it. You send them. You refer somebody over to this distributor or wherever they feel comfortable. Take a look at that guy's website, whatever who you sell to, and
Right.
and you send them there. That's always been the simple way to remedy that issue. Now, as far as anything goes, there's still plans that we're working out. Of course, like you said, we're a young company, and there's going to be things that we have to remedy. We're still playing with plans, and that's one of the things. This is one of the things that we do have to kind of remedy in the future. We are doing some playing around between all of the minds there at Jake Wyatt, but we seem to have a pretty good hold of it so far. Too much business, is that one of the things we have to deal with so far? Not yet, but we're looking forward to it. It's not
I mean,
like
that
we
comes, that comes with strategy.
yeah,
You know what you want to do for growth this year, and you manage hopefully to that growth.
absolutely.
It's going to be, it could take, things could take off, things can go right according to plan, and you never know where they go. Um, but
Absolutely.
wish you the best on all of that. Um, when you look at the company, one of the things that I always liked about Jake Wyatt is they have your regular portfolio of cigars, and then they've got some really interesting what I call craft cigars, where the artisans are getting involved in the creation, where you're starting to make this stuff look really beautiful, right, with the nice tails on them and stuff like that.
Yeah, we have what we call the gourmet collection and the connoisseur collection. So it's something that a lot of, and that's where kind of like some of the shops have kind of looked at our stuff and said, well, this isn't necessarily for our customers, because some of it does seem a bit like we're trying to be a little too crafty. Some of that's what some of the shops have said, but we've got some stuff coming out, and we've had huge success with our latest release. The Maverick, which is more of just a regular, traditional looking cigar, the Maduro that we did.
Mm-hmm.
And that's already done real well for us. Our top seller is the Herbert Spencer, which is the Maduro. That's the one I'm smoking right now. You can see that right there, that has more of a traditional look. It has some Candela accents on it, but it's not too, it's not one of the like Candela.
So let's
we have our, yeah,
let's
we have our
share.
line.
Let me share your website for those that don't know. You go to Jake Wyatt with two T's cigars.com, and
Absolutely.
you'll see. Whoops, didn't do that right. Sorry, did I do that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, my numbers on my screens are looking weird, so I'm gonna go here. Right, there we go. All right, I'm sorry. So on here, and maybe you can walk through the portfolio this way. So in your website, the first one you come to is the Appendix 2.
Yeah. The Appendix 2. That's going to be our Connecticut.
Now, let me ask you a question. Why is it called Appendix, and why is it called 2?
Well, the
'Cause I've never
appendix.
seen did I see the Appendix 1 anywhere?
No, the appendix 2. They just named that right from the get go. But yeah, it was just something that they did. It's kind of like they kind of when you look in the profile, they'll tell you that it's comparable to a Davidoff 6000. But I don't like, me myself, I don't want to sit there and tell you, oh, it's going to be just like a Davidoff. But it's something in the storyline that they'll give you more of a breakdown on it there. Yeah. I'm still look, Jimmy, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I'm still getting to know every nuance.
We're gonna learn.
We're
gonna learn together. How about that?
Yeah.
Let's go to the next one, the Fourth Dimension. I used to know a band called the Fifth Dimension, right?
So the Fourth Dimension, it's a cigar. It's a cigar that takes you like to the next step. We take you to another level.
What level? That's basically What level do you take?
It's like when you're it relaxes you so much it takes you to another step, brother. Another step in time.
Really. And that's got a beautiful Habano Rosado wrapper.
Absolutely, brother. Yeah.
All right. This is your best seller, you said, the Herbert Spencer.
The Herbert Spencer, brother. Yeah. It's a medium cigar. It's San Andreas. It's even got some Pennsylvania broadleaf in the filler.
Oh yeah, they don't declare that here, but that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a good. That's actually what I'm smoking here. Yeah.
Okay.
Really nice and smooth. I love this cigar. It really is smooth.
And the beauty is they come in like a lot of these, they come in a number of Vitolas. So it isn't like there's just one Vitola. I mean, this one comes in a Lancero.
We do Bellicoso, of course, in Toro and Robusto. We do Coronas as well.
Yep.
And we do 20, and our boxes are set up to where we do 22 sticks per box. And then also on our box and on our bands, we have QR codes on each one of our bands to where you can actually pull up a profile. It'll take you over to the YouTube channel and get like a kind of like a quick little semblance of what the cigar is, like a little video. Yeah,
that's a cool thing to do. I see more brands starting to do that. And that's smart. That's intelligent. It's on the box. It's on the band. It's on the band.
And the box, and the box, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Jimmy. The box and the Vista on the box inside the shop, the Vista will actually break it down from wrapper to binder to filler and let you know what's going on with the cigar you're about to buy. And it'll take it down. It'll break it down by thirds also. It'll break it down like by, how the first third will smoke for you, how the second third, and it'll give you a breakdown of, a lot of smokers these days, it'll give you a breakdown of 1, 2, 3 on how the cigar breaks down into thirds. Also, it'll give you some of the videos will give you it'll give you a breakdown on how it will retrohale. Retrohale is big these days. A lot of these guys like to retrohale with the stronger stuff to get that feeling.
As long as you don't do too much of it, you're all right.
Yeah, I'm not big into it because I always think of doing it a little. After all these years, I got to be honest, I still don't do it a lot. So Tom Poehler taught me how to retrohale a long time ago. That tells you how long it's been. Tom Poehler, of all people, was the guy that taught me how to retrohale a long time ago.
Let's go back. Let's go back to some more. Let's go back to some more here. All right.
Absolutely.
All right. Now we get to the lucid interval.
The lucid, the LI,
Candela. This is your Candela.
So the lucid interval, man. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good way to start your day, brother. That's the Candela. Actually, the lucid interval. They still leave it a little grassy. They still leave it a little, Everybody tries to kind of mellow theirs up a little. This one it's going to be a kind of gaming experience for you.
Okay. Now, have you smoked all the blends?
I'm smoking my way through them. Yeah,
Okay.
I've
And are
tried
you
to smoke,
smoking the different Vitolas in the
yeah.
blends?
I've
So
smoked Corona. I haven't smoked I haven't smoked a Corona yet, to be honest with you. Now, when I was in California, the reason I didn't smoke all 7 is because I just didn't want to wreck my palate. Because to smoke all 7 properly within a 2-day period, man, you wouldn't have gotten them properly.
Right.
So I brought them with me, and I'm still smoking through them. I mean, you just don't get a proper taste if you're just trying to, just smoking through them. That's at least the way my palate.
So I was asking that question because when I think of like the Lucid, and I know you got Lanceros in a lot of the portfolio, but
Yeah.
I don't know the last time I saw a Candela Lancero. I'm trying to think about the last time I might have had one. It's not recent memory. And
Actually, man, I can tell you the last time I saw it, we did one at Espinosa in the Wasabi. So that
you did a Wasabi in I didn't have that.
We did. We released
so
one.
how did this work? I mean, did you smoke this one yet in the Lancero?
I have not smoked. The LI, and I smoked one. I actually posted one. I smoked one, or I don't know if I posted that one, but I smoked one. Let's see, I smoked a Bellicoso. I smoked really well. Smoked it, yeah.
Oh yeah,
man, really well.
Just comparing this, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the expression, whether it's a Bellicoso or a Lancero, right?
Now it's not.
See how that wrapper really, if you're getting good grassy notes and green tea notes in a Bellicoso, let's say, that's amplified. That's going to be amplified in a Lancero.
Okay, that Bellicoso. And when I smoke a Bellicoso, I cut my Bellicosos at an angle. No,
I do the same thing. I do the same thing with the torpedoes, Bellicosos, anything that comes up like a bishop's cap or whatever. It's getting
absolutely. And when I smoke a Lancero, I like to open it up. I do it straight guillotine. I don't do it V cut. I'll do a Toro on a V cut, but I won't do that on a Lancero. I like to open it up. And Lanceros, to me, a Lancero is a cigar that you smoke sitting down, and you smoke when you're chilling by yourself, and you got time to really appreciate it. And you want that. There are cigars that we smoke when we're talking to people, and when we're in a discussion, and we sit around and we're at a lounge or whatever. But to me, the Lancero is a cigar that you sit and you concentrate, much like pipe smoking. To me, pipe smoking is something that you do because it requires a little bit of more work, but it's more aromatic, it's more relaxing. That's the way Lancero smoke has always smoking a Lancero has always been to me. It's just something
morning
about that.
Cigar is a Lancero for me.
Really. And
I wake up, go out on a patio, got the dog, got the birds chirping, you got the squirrels running, right? You got a light breeze, and the sun's rising, and you're just sitting here feeling the heat of the sun come at you, and you just enjoy. And you got an hour and a half, beautiful, sit back, relax in your own thought.
See, and the morning cigar to me is my favorite cigar, man, because that's the day where your head's clear. You're kind of putting your day together as far as, okay, this is what we want to do today. This is what we want to accomplish. You're kind of going over your to-do list in your mind. You're like, okay, this is, and you've almost, and you kind of go through your morning, whatever your morning ritual is.
That's your work day. That's your work day. I'm talking about your non-work day, right? Like for me, like on a Saturday, a Saturday or a Sunday for me.
Oh, that's even better. That's even better. Yeah.
That's the perfect time to enjoy that Lancero in the morning, right?
Absolutely, man.
Now
Absolutely.
every day for me is a Saturday, so I can do that every day. So
The perks of being Boston Jimmie, man. You know what can I tell you?
it's crazy. Let's go back. Let's go back to the list here. Let's see what else we got going on. This is a good way of handling the show. I didn't even think about doing this way.
There you go, man. Yeah.
So
It's like you know what you're doing here. You're doing exactly what Neil did with us this week in California.
All right. Well,
you're pulling up like your bullet points
USIR.
here.
What does USIR stand for?
You know, you would think that I would know that, right? You know, geez, you're grilling me here.
Your management called me earlier and said, please test Tony. This is his final test.
I know, right? It's like I got that. I got it written down there somewhere because
there's so much to learn and so much to know, right?
Yeah, I know there is an explanation for that, and you should, but basically, it's what it is it's an anagram for basically just the understanding of the cigar, and the USIR cigar. Let me see. Let me make sure I get it for you right, Jimmie. It's a Habano Rosado. It's undisputed. It's the undisputed inner resource, is what it is.
Undisputed inner resource. Okay.
And what that is basically, it's something in life that you don't want to. Basically, what it equates to is don't pre-qualify somebody. It's so much in life that we kind of prejudge people. We prejudge situations. So it's your inner resource that you have to deal with. And I know that kind of sounds, heady and everything like that, but it's something that we deal with, that all of us deal with. Like, in other words, don't be your own worst enemy, man. Like, just, let, as I say, too many times, way too many times, somebody once told me, but allow everything in life to work itself out and take those challenges on, but make yourself work for that situation in the right way and take each day head on. Don't cancel yourself out each day, and that's what this cigar is all about. Like, hey, take life by the horns. Let's do it the right way.
Would you say that's after knowing your new company for a while, would you say that's part of their mantra?
Absolutely. Like, we're gonna go out, we're gonna give it our best shot, and we're gonna be the determiners of our destiny. Because if we listen to the people that say, hey, no, you can't do it, we won't even have the courage to walk out the front door, brother. That's the whole thing. So yeah. So that's what that is. Yeah.
All right, let's look at the next one. The next one is the SE 2019 limited edition, limited production one.
Oh yeah, that's one of the ones. Okay, so what we do on that one, that's more of like a promo cigar that we do. That's one of the that's like a perfecto. That only gets given out for like when you do high-end events and stuff like that. It's more of like a raffle cigar. We raffle off like boxes of that and stuff like that. But it's a beautiful cigar, yeah. And right now, what we do is we do a version of a kind of like a Candela wrap on that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this one right here, I believe
Habano Rosado, but
yeah. But that one right there, I think that one might be out of production.
So you're talking
we have
the
one that's
newest
similar to that.
So like an SE 2020 or something.
Yeah.
It's gonna have a new number probably. Let's go to the lithium. Now I've had the lithium. I like the lithium. All right. Very traditional looking cigar with the pigtail cap on it. Very nice.
The lithium. Yes, the lithium is out of our connoisseur collection, my brother. It's a Habano Oscuro wrapper. Beautiful cigar.
And I would say, if I'm not mistaken, I'm looking at your notes. Smooth, creamy, spice and pepper, hints of citrus. Yeah, that's about what I got. If I
Yeah, this
remember
is a very
correctly.
smooth.
Oh yeah, it's a
Yeah,
smooth, relaxing cigar.
absolutely, brother.
Now,
And now this one right here, now this one is the one that they like you to retrohale. Yeah,
okay, all right.
yeah,
So they're
they like this one
recommending that
because it's
you.
got that smoothness, it's got that inner strength on it. Really, really something that that Jake Wyatt engineered for people to retrohale. So like if you get a guy at a you know, whenever you get a guy at a event or something, well, I like to retrohale. Boom, you take them to that one right there.
Yeah. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another really quick commercial break. This one's about 2 minutes. And when we come back, I want to dig into, let's talk about factories, talk about, blending, things that, you can introduce us to that should be or could be public knowledge. Okay.
All right, brother.
Our friends at True Estate.
Look at that. Don't that look nice?
And today's show is brought to you by Casa Cuevas Cigars. In the 19th century, Juan Cuevas, Spanish immigrant from Santander, began what was to be a family business which now spans 4 generations. Like others fortunate enough to live and work in Pinar del Rio province of Cuba, Juan commenced cultivating tobacco, turning it into a successful business. Following in his father's footsteps, his son Juan Jr. continued with the family business, successfully expanding it until events which took place in 1959 forced a dramatic change. Years later, in the Ciabo Valley of the Dominican Republic, Luis Cuevas Sr., Juan Jr.'s son, carried on the family tradition of handcrafting fine cigars in the family's cigar factory, Tabacalera Las Lavas. Today, Luis Sr. is joined by his son Luis Jr. in the manufacturing and sale of premium long filler cigars at their factory, Tabacalera Las Lavas in Santiago, Dominican Republic. So check out Casa Cuevas Cigars at www.casacuevascigars.com and on their Instagram and Facebook channels.
All right. Let's get back to Tony.
All right.
I want to thank the sponsors. They're always helpful. Keeps this show rolling and everything else we do on Stogie Press. Before we get into factories and other things, Jake Wyatt, I was thinking during that commercial break, we don't all know your background. So tell me, are you new to the cigar industry
No,
before
well, I mean,
Espinosa?
I started out. I started out like a lot of guys started out. I started out in cigar retail, and you've been to the Dallas area, man. You know
Yes.
Brandon Hayes over at Renegade.
Yep.
So what I was doing, I used to run bars and restaurants, and I used to stop by Renegade every once in a while for a cigar, and. So one day, Brandon and I talked, and Brandon needed a guy like one day a week. Okay, and I used to be a district manager for this one bar operation, and I kind of had just grown tired of being kind of bar around the bar industry, and so what started as one night a week for Renegade turned into pretty much about a month and a half later, I was working with Brandon pretty much 5 days a week and 6 days a week and whatnot. And I stayed with Brandon for about 3 years. And so then I go over to another place and I start GMing across town. And that was, I went to another operation, and that was in itself a whole different, I went from one spectrum of nice guy shop, nice, everything was going wonderful, everything was running smooth and everything. And I walked into just a total tidal wave of issues and everything. And just this gentleman just ran his shop a complete different way. And which was it, I tell you what, it taught me how to deal with different cities because it was a multiple location operation.
Mm.
And I learned how to go get permits. I learned how to go get all kinds of stuff and deal with contractors and stuff like that with different municipalities around the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So I learned a lot. So it was a learning experience for me. But the way this gentleman ran his operation was just, it was just not conducive to the cigar industry. And it wasn't, him and I are still friends to this day. It just, the guy ran it differently. Let's just say that. And I wish him well. I really do. So, but then I was working with a buddy of mine who was building, Jeff Peters at the time was building Main Street Cigars out in Rowlett. Fast forward, and I was still at the time I was working with Jay Davis over at Blue Smoke part-time. And I was doing some side work with Noel Rojas and stuff, and just kind of doing some side work here and there for everybody. I had a bartending service going, man. I was just kind of doing everything I could, man, to keep the bills paid. So all of a sudden I meet this guy, Joel Madero, because he'd come in to pitch his cigars at Main Street. All right. So all of a sudden we start talking, and next thing you know, we're talking a couple of weeks later. He hands me a price list in a bag and says, "Go to it, man." So I'm the Texas rep for Marrero Cigars. And that's how it began. That was and I was still kind of doing a little work for Jay Davis. And
How many years ago are we talking when this whole journey began?
Well, I stayed with Joel for about 3 years, and then I stayed at Espinosa for 5 years.
That's 8 plus the shop.
So yeah, so I mean, and the whole
8, 10, 12.
Yeah, man. So we're talking about over 11 years.
Okay.
So I mean, it's just it just kind of, that's how long I've been kicking around cigars. So 11 to 12 years.
But you were smoking cigars before then?
Yeah. And so
you were the consumer guy at the shop, sitting back, somebody started calling you Big Tony.
Yeah, and that's how it all happened, So it just and that's how this industry gets you, man. This industry gets you. You think about Paul Costo, right? Mm-hmm. That's how he got in it. He used to work over at Arlington Cigar. Trey Andrews, he used to work over at Infuego. He's, and Trey won't leave. Trey won't leave, as you all know. Trey just announced the other day he's back in it with with Ernie, so it's just something about this. I think when you're a tobacco guy, when you're a cigar guy, you won't leave. That's it. And so
yeah, I've retired from my engineering world, and I'm like not retiring from this. This is the driving force that carries me forward over the next 10 to 20 years. God bless me if I can make that far.
Absolutely. I have seen a trend of guys come through this industry, Jimmie, that are salesmen that learn about cigars and go out there and start working as reps. And then I've seen cigar guys that just stay in this industry, that just, and there is look, no, I'm not knocking any guy that gets out there and gets his hustle on and goes out there and rolls his sleeves up and goes to work. that's I have nothing against that. But you could tell the guys, the cigar guys, from the salesmen out there, clearly. I mean, there's just something about it. You know, it is never, the two are never going to be the same. That's
Right.
just all there is to it. And
People that
like
truly
I said,
know tobacco, truly understand what goes into the product, the processes, the knowledge that goes before it,
and the
how
passion
that
for it.
and
Absolutely.
exactly, and that passion. And
Yeah.
that's what, you know, I mean, you worked at shops, you ran shops, you know that when the rep came in, you wanted to make sure that the rep understood more than
I
just
haven't yeah,
more
absolutely.
than, hey, I got this cool thing to sell you,
Absolutely.
right? You know,
I
well, do you
haven't
know anything about wine? No, I don't, but it opens up beer bottles too.
absolutely. And the thing is I appreciate every job that is done by every member of the staff. Uh, I've seen reps go in and just want to talk to the person that orders the cigars and just the owner of the shop. And it's, to me, it's always been, you have to appreciate everybody that's under that roof, working your cigars, because they are the people, the driving force behind that cigar lounge or shop or whatever you have, that puts your cigars in the hands of the consumer. And
and
you
I've
have to.
been and I've been on visits to shops with different brand owners. When they come through town, they'll say, hey, you want, you know, let me bring you to some of my shops that I've, you know, if you haven't been in them yet. So we'll get in the car, we'll drive around for a whole day. And I'm always fascinated at the approach that's taken and how you do this. And there are right and wrong approaches, right? You know, if you're going to just
Absolutely.
if you're just going to drop in, um, you kind of better make sure you explain you happen to be in town visiting Jimmie and he took you up here. All right. Because they don't want to be just walked in on all the time. Usually they can make an appointment. But then even once you get into that conversation, the other thing that I've learned from a lot of these engagements I've seen is that as much as you're going to give the cigar pop, you know, the samples and stuff to the owner to try and maybe the buyer, okay, a lot of times they say, well, I need a couple more because I'm going to give them to my most trusted clientele. Because it's those people, like you just said, it's the consumer in that shop that has to want to buy that cigar. Or would somebody buy that cigar? They're going to ask their consumers if they're a smart shop. What do you guys think? And
Well, it's a discretion call then. You got to let them know, like, there's sometimes, and see, this is where the rep gets kind of put in a hard position. A rep has only a certain amount of cigars to deal with each month.
Mhm.
So a lot of times a rep, he has to make his road stock last. And although he might want to, and that's where you got to kind of let the salespeople know, man, I really would like to give you more, but look, I'm kind of running low on road stock right now, trunk stock, whatever you want to call it. Look, man, can I just give you a couple? And next time I come back around, I'll try to leave you off some more. But my road trip, I still have to hit X amount of shops, and I only have X amount of samples, because really you are working with supplies that are entrusted upon you, entrusted into you to give to just the staff. And look, we all want to give cigars out, but you have to work with a limited supply. So it is a discretion call at that point. But if you have them to hand out, like sometimes they give you something designated for something like that. So that way you can kind of be a little more, you can kind of give them out a little more liberally. But at that point, yeah, you got to kind of make a discretion call. But we wish we all could, but sometimes, like I said, discretion call, brother. Yeah.
so let's talk a little bit about the factory. So you still using Tabacalera JVM?
We are in the DR, of course, and we are at Zona Franca. We are at over in Santiago. and it's we have it's the Casa Murambo,
Casa
isn't
Morambo,
it?
because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
thought originally they were Tabacalera JVM.
yeah. They were, yeah. That was probably it, but it's Casa Murambo now.
Casa
Yeah.
Morambo.
So,
Okay.
and it's over in
Is that in Tamboril,
uh,
or is in the zoner in
it's something.
Tamboril
No,
or
no, no. It's
Santiago?
in the Zona Franca.
Oh, Zona Franca. Okay, I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
missed that.
So, and it's over. Yeah, it's over. The Santiago area.
Hmm.
So yeah, but and I have plans to go visit there later this year. So, and I can't wait. That's one of the things I've always wanted to do is get out there and get into the leaves. So,
Well,
but
you've been to
I
Nicaragua
have
with
not, brother. And that was one of the things
you
that I've always wanted to
really?
do.
So
Well,
you
because of
would
COVID and everything, and when see, that was one of the things
wow.
that hit. Like, yeah, that was one of the things that hit right in the middle of my stint with Espinosa, and with all the, and then of course, as a lot of people know, we had COVID hit. We had a lot of political unrest in Nicaragua
Yep.
and everything like that. So there was so many roadblocks that got thrown in there
Okay.
that it was just so many. There were just so many things.
So
So
you've
really,
never been down to Dominican
no, I
or
haven't. I
in your
haven't, and I've wanted to
wow.
go. So
Oh.
really, the trip for Espinosa, the trips that Eric started taking to Nicaragua were just trips out of necessity.
I
That
see.
was, yeah. So that was one of the things that we, that was another curveball that we got thrown at Espinosa. But he wanted, Jack and Eric wanted to get the staff down there, but man, it just time after time we just got thrown roadblocks on that stuff, and it was unfortunate, but that's just what it was.
So you're going
But
to get down there. You're going to get to see the field. You're going to get to see the factories. You're going to see
oh,
where the
absolutely.
sausage is made. Oh
Ah, yeah.
man.
Oh, yeah. And see, and I know that other companies have gotten to go, but it's just with everything that was going on with Espinosa, we couldn't
Right.
pull sales staff off the road. I mean,
Mhm.
there was just everybody having everything going on and everything trying to get lined up. And I mean, when do you have that perfect storm to where you can pull four in-house reps off the road and say, okay, guys, this is when we're going, we're going to take you all off. It gets difficult to do
You
because you got
gotta
to go.
you gotta
Yeah,
plan that. You have to plan that in your
absolutely.
yearly schedule.
Yeah,
You have a kickoff.
internet.
You
Yeah,
got to have a kickoff
international
meeting.
travel. Yeah,
You know,
international travel for a company thing.
Uh,
That's not easy to do because
when I
everybody
used
wants to go. You
when
got
I used
Hector, you got Eric,
well,
Jr., you got Eric. Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's a whole. There's a whole slew of people traveling with
Uh,
Espinosa, man.
and I
So
used when I was working, we always there was always a kickoff at the beginning of the year. They started doing virtually now ever since COVID. So I think they've learned to save a lot of money. But yeah, it was
yeah,
always a blast because all the sales and marketing and engineering would all show up at this in a destination, right? They'd pick a
yeah,
place, Hawaii,
yeah,
California, Texas, and we would just go and have like a week-long meeting. And if there's any work being done, it's done late at night, or all customers kind of know that you're having you're doing a strategy meeting for the
I
year to figure out what you're doing.
with the
And
growth that Espinosa went through. I mean, I totally understood because they had larger, more and more multi vendors started coming up with the trade shows coming about. There was it got to where when do we schedule this stuff? I mean, it was just it got to be it got to be the calendar just started getting more and more full month after month, year after year. It started, and so I understood. I understood. And look, there was, like I said, uh, you know, spinning plates and everything was becoming a common thing over there. So, and these are the things that we're trying to, these are the problems that we're trying to one day have at Jake Wyatt. So, and I
right,
know that it's attainable. I mean, Neil and we have plans to travel throughout the country and start getting into markets. We're starting, we're looking forward to, the trade show. We're going to be at TPE We've got some good things
You're going to
planned
be at both
ahead.
trade shows?
We're going to be at both trade shows, brother, TPE and
Wow.
PCA. So, because I think it's only fitting that, a company of our size, we gotta go get the meat where the meat is going to be.
So
at both,
do you run out the TPE and then do some account work
Oh,
in
absolutely, yeah.
Nevada? Is that what
In
you're doing? You're
fact,
staying in
I
that
know.
area and then going back?
Oh yeah, in fact,
PCA?
we have plans to travel this week coming up. Neil's coming out here to Texas, and hopefully, even though we've got some bad weather planned, we're going to try and work around that. But we'll see what we've got going. So we're already going to go see some people here in Texas just to kind of say hello and knock on a few doors and start lining up appointments for TPE, and then we'll start in Vegas. And then we'll go from there, man. So it just, we've got to get the ball rolling, and we can't slow down. So that's all there is to it. No.
So there is you, the national sales guy.
Uh-huh.
Do they have a rep out in the California West Coast area?
We have a sales girl out in California. She's been working with Neil. And Sandra, Neil's wife, runs the office. Her name is Sandra, and she does a great job of staying on top of everything. And of course, you know how it is when you have when you have someone that's good at taking care of office matters. They do a great job, and that's what we have in Sandra. And she's they handle the orders as they process and they come in, and we've got a couple of guys running around the warehouse that take care of stuff. We have our guy Domingo that processes the orders as they come in.
So your job is to build the base now of accounts,
Absolutely.
and then start looking possibly in a year or two for reps, brokers.
And well, we're going to see how the first 6 to 12 months go. We have Michael King up in the Northeast, who's brokering for us, and he's already landed. He's got some accounts going already, and him and Neil, they actually are going to be doing some traveling together here on the towards the end of the month as we get closer to TPE. So they've already had that. They had that planned already. So I'm going to be taking care of some travel down here that I've got to do. And then, we're going to go from there. But I think for right now, rather than like just seek out a bunch of reps, we're just going to go start kind of viewing the territories and seeing what we've got. I think it would just kind of be a little too early to jump the gun so quick as to just start throwing our territory, because I think what you have to do is you gotta kind of build the brand a little before you start throwing it into reps portfolios. Because then in my opinion, it just gets lost in a rep's portfolio if it's not a well-known brand. That rep that broker has to have something to work with. It's been my experience that if that broker doesn't have a lot of confidence in your brand, it's just he might move.
It's gonna go in the back end of his lot, that he's
exactly.
I mean, cigars have to speak for themselves. If I was ever a rep, believe me, I would sit back and go through a lot of stuff and be like, no, yes, no, yes, no.
Exactly.
I mean, you just don't take stuff because you want to add something to your portfolio. You have to take in things that are quality. Jake Wyatt is a quality cigar, has been, decent cigar going through.
But there's got to be, a broker, as we know, a broker is revenue driven. I mean, there's some passion there also, but a broker, come on, let's just be honest here. They're motivated by revenue. And so we have to do it. We have to do it because
I think you're motivated by revenue too.
Hey, come on. We all want to keep the lights on, I mean, but at the same time, but we want to make it a beneficial endeavor for the broker as well. We want that broker to feel confident in saying, hey, these guys are worth working with. So that's what we have to do. So that's what our main intention is. So, but yeah, that's the task at hand, brother, and that's our intention for the next 6 to 12 months. And I think more closer to the 12 months than the 6. I mean, let's just be honest here.
Takes time.
So
Yeah, you got to
absolutely,
set
brother. And anything worth building, man, is going to take time. Like I said, strong foundation. Anything built on a weak foundation, brother. It's
and you're
just going to fall right
architecting
down.
everything on top of the foundation now. You got to make
Absolutely,
sure
brother.
it holds.
Absolutely. 100%. I couldn't agree more. Man. So,
Let's talk some more about Tony Gomez. So,
all right, brother. Let's talk about that guy.
So, born and raised in Texas?
Born and raised in Texas, man. I am a Dallas guy. East Dallas, brother. East Dallas. Yeah. So,
and your parents are from Texas, or did they?
Well, let's see. Parents are from Texas. Yeah, parents are from Texas. They checked out kind of early in my life. I was raised by my grandmother.
Oh, sorry to hear
so
that.
yeah, we learned to deal with it, right? So I myself, I've had my dalliances in the past, man, but I've learned to kind of.
So grandma was born and raised in Texas?
Grandma was born in San Angelo, as a matter of fact, man. So
how many generations are there of your Gomez family in Texas?
I'll tell you what, it's so funny that you mentioned that, because we can trace back from all the way back to Alpine, Texas. And my grandfather was born I had one grandfather that was born in Texas, and another grandfather that was born in Kansas City. So, and he was born, the reason he was born in Kansas City was because they were agriculture or migrant workers that worked in the fields. And he used to pick cotton when he was a kid, he told me. But they went, and then he grew up in Kansas City, and then him and his brothers used to run between Kansas City and St. Louis. And so, but they settled here. He settled here in the Dallas area, and he was just an old hustler, man. He was just an old slick dude, man. But it was funny because one side of the family was kind of crooked, and the other side of the family was go to church kind of people. And so I got a little bit of it. I got a little bit of it both, brother. So it was a heck of
all
a way
them
to come
good
up.
all those good church going people like to take in the people that are on the wrong side of the equation and help find a way. And they sometimes that equals marriage and children.
So, and of course, like any knucklehead kid coming up, man, I got into trouble. I got into my fair amount of trouble in life, but of course, eventually I straightened up and
what was the
eventually
dumbest thing? What was the dumbest thing that you want to talk about that you ever did in your life?
That was
as a kid,
yeah.
It was like one of the dumbest things you ever did. You look back on it and go, man, how? Imagine I didn't get busted for this or something.
Oh my God! You know what? I remember when I was a kid, we used to go egg cars. Right when we used to go egg cars, me and my childhood friend Fred, man, that used to live a block away from me. Oh, me and Fred, man, we used to go egg cars, and we got busted. And we didn't get busted by a car. We got busted by a guy that was walking by. He thought we were throwing eggs at him. And oh, man, he made us go wake up our folks, man. And it was just like, yeah, we got in trouble, man, because there was that. And then when I was 12 years old, I snuck out to go to a Santana concert, and I got caught. But it was worth it, though. The Santana concert
was worth it. I mean,
yeah, that was worth it, man. I got totally caught. Yeah, coming home, and so that one was worth it. But and I didn't get to go anywhere after that for I think maybe like a month or so.
You were grounded for a year, and it ended up being a month.
Oh my God! Yeah,
I used to get that. You're grounded for the whole summer, and then 3 weeks later, they're like, "Can you just leave the house? Can you go play with your friends?"
Right. So, but I was 12, and I still remember the concert, man. I still remember it was the Z-Bop tour, everything, man. It was Still remember the
Nice.
album that he was touring, everything. Alex Ligertwood was his lead singer for the first time. All of that stuff, man. I was a Santana freak, you know. So that was certainly one of the fun ones.
Here's a
Had a
fun
good time while I
comment.
was there, but you know.
So, so Lena Adams, she's up in New York. Lena's one of my great followers, and she's won some prizes in the past. She says, speaking of cotton, I once gave a woman a cotton bouquet for her birthday. She was in shock because she picked cotton for a living in South Carolina.
Oh, wow. That's something, man. Yeah.
There you go. What else is everybody saying? A little loud night in my way. Who else is? We got a lot of people been watching. Anthony James says, good word, Tony. Thanks for sharing.
All right.
Ryan Lewis chimed in. We were talking about one of the smokes, and he says, that's the blend I tried. It was a good smoke. Oh, and the Herbert Spencer. I think that's the one he talked about. Yes.
Yeah. The Herbert Spencer, brother, right here. Good job. So the Herbert, we're going to.
So what are you guys doing around football this year?
I tell you what.
Did Houston win today? Or did Cleveland beat them? I didn't finish watching the game.
I didn't even get to watch any football today, brother. I was kind of running around getting ready for this new Arctic blast that we got coming on today. But I got
it. I feel it right now here coming through Florida. It's getting cold.
Oh man, what's the temperature out there, man?
Right now it's 59 and dropping. And 59 sounds warm to everybody up north, and I apologize for that. But I'm kind of chilling out,
brother. We're hitting around 20. We're hitting around 25 degrees right now, brother. With wind chill is going to be like 15, man. So yeah. So
and everybody thinks Texas is warm like Florida.
No, it can be. I mean, during the summer we're hitting
brutal.
around 110, 100, you know.
Brutal.
And that's the hard part about that's one of the good parts about living in Texas. You get everything here in Texas. I mean, you can go to the beach in Texas. You can go out to the West Texas mountains. You can go to the desert. You know, I mean, you got everything in Texas, brother. I mean, you can go up to El Paso, or you can go out to Amarillo, where there's absolutely nothing but tumbleweeds. I mean, it's got everything, brother. You go out to Lufkin or you go out to Midland, Odessa, out in West Texas, and it's nothing but oil rigs or like the derricks and people drilling for oil everywhere. And gosh, you wake
What's
up
your
out
favorite
there.
place? You grew up in the East Dallas area, but having traveled around Texas, what is Dallas your favorite, or is there other places that are really cool?
The guys out in Fort Worth at the Underground, Don Wiggins and the gang chef and everybody at the Underground, those guys are dear to my heart. I love those guys to death.
Phenomenal
my favorite place out in West Texas, of course, and probably on the face of the planet, Fernando Gondera and Mia Ortiz out there at Vitola's in El Paso. I love those people to death. I mean, they run a place called Vitola's down in downtown El Paso, and they've got another place called Vitola's Freedom Crossing on Fort Bliss out on the Army base, and they've got 2 locations. But those people I love to death, man. When you go, South Texas, you go out to McAllen, you got Dimitri Petrides, Casa Petrides. He's a good guy. In the Houston area, of course, you got Amin at CDOT. I mean, there's so many places that are just great here in Texas. I love the Texas shops. You can't miss here in any city. You're going to have a great place to hang out.
That was a good answer, but not the question. But that was a good answer.
What do you got? The
question was, if you were to live anywhere in Texas, would it always be East Dallas, or or is there a place in Texas you would absolutely love being?
I'm always going to be a Dallas guy. I'm always going to be a Dallas guy because I don't think Austin and San Antonio, the traffic has just gotten really bad there. I don't think I would want to move there. And plus the property rates in Austin have just gone through the roof because of everybody migrating there. Houston, oh my gosh, I love the people there, but the traffic in Houston, it never stops, brother. It never stops. It starts up in the Woodlands and it goes all the way. It goes all the way down to Webster, which is the whole encompasses everything. You're almost heading down towards, you're heading almost down to the water practically. But great people in Houston. El Paso, as far as could I live there? Brother, you are way out there. You're practically you are in New Mexico practically. That's all there is to it, man. So, and Amarillo, it gets too cold up there, brother. So I don't think I can live in Amarillo. And the same thing, you're kind of way up. You're away from everything. I mean, you're 5 hours from everywhere.
So Anthony James just asked. Okay, first of all, let's look at Tony. And now let's ask the question. Hey, Tony, are you a brisket fan? Brisket is huge in Texas.
Oh, come on, man.
Look at the man.
Okay, so my favorite place to go here locally is a place called Hutchins. Okay, but whenever we were in Austin, we had to go to Style Switch. Ask Skip Martin about Style Switch down at Rome, the Roma boys about Style Switch.
Okay.
And that's just, yeah. You see, you got to go to Style Switch. But the debate here there's another place here in the Dallas area called Hurtado that a lot of people are crazy about. And then you got your upscale places like the Pecan Lodge over the Deep Ellum area. But for my money, I like going to Hutchins. And then also I like God, man, I always forget the name. It's right over. It's over in the Plano area, but I know where it's at. But yeah, but I like going over to Hutchins. Yeah, but I do like brisket, and I like mine lean, brother. Lean.
Lean.
There you go. So I know that was the next question.
So Lena Adams asked, "Does Texas?" And I'll help answer this question. Does Texas have great mezcal? Now, I will say this. I was on business years ago down in the Houston area, and there was a restaurant bar place that I hung out at, and every Thursday night they had this chef making food. All right. So I got to be friends with the chef all the time when I was down there, and we would smoke cigars because I always have him with me. He was a cigar guy too. And we just one night decided to just go back to my hotel. We sat out by the pool, and he opened up a Mason's jar of mezcal from Mexico. This is like their White Lightning version of mezcal.
Yeah.
Okay. So smooth. And
Really?
we drank that whole thing. And if I told you I was seeing my grandmother in my visions, I wouldn't be lying. Right?
My gosh.
It was good. Now, with that statement, now go ahead, Selena's question.
Okay, so I haven't drank in over 15 years. Okay, but when I would, I would probably for the last 5 years that I drank, I would drink way too much. But I was a fan of mezcal, but yes, they have an abundance of it here. So yes, the answer to your question is yes. And the further south you go, the more and more choices you have. So as you as you get further south, you will get stuff like that. Small batch, is what they call it. And you'll get the stuff that's made in the smaller villages. You get those guys that are kind of like how you get your winemakers, and they have stuff that that's the way you get that kind of stuff. You got the guys that just make their own stuff, and when they have those big festivals down in Mexico and stuff, that they're gonna have people that invite you into their house. Hey, come try this, and their private reserves and everything. And that's what you were drinking, brother. You were drinking something that was made at a guy's house, and he, and that jar that he has, that guy who probably that guy who got that jar knows the guy who he probably releases a couple of cases like once every 6 months or so.
Yeah.
And he was lucky enough to get a jar, and you were fortunate enough because he shared it with you.
I'll never.
Yeah.
That was a rough. That the morning was tough. That's all. It was not an easy morning to go back into an office on a Friday. Thankfully Fridays are never busy, so it wasn't so bad. But it was.
Wow, man, that was something else. Yeah, how about that, brother? Yeah.
Did you play sports when you were in high school?
I played football my last 2 years of high school.
You quarterback?
But you know what? In order to let her, I had to play another sport, and I didn't want to. I wasn't going to play. I wasn't being a fat kid. I wasn't going to put on those tight baseball pants, and I was too short and fat to play basketball.
So you were always Big Tony. You were always Big Tony.
Oh yeah, man. I've been a fat. I was a fat kid growing up, man.
Wow.
And then I wasn't going to be the big fat goalie playing soccer, right? So the coach said, well, hey, go throw shot put, so I was on the track team. So there I was on the track team, me and 10 skinny other black kids, you know what I mean, and the one fat Mexican kid showing up, you know what I mean. So to the street, so that was it. So I was throwing shot put and throwing discus, but the discus, you gotta really know what you're doing, man, to throw a discus.
Oh, yeah, it's not like throwing a frisbee, huh?
Oh, it's not. Yeah, you gotta have beautiful form and everything to throw that discus, brother. So I learned how to throw the shot put, and I didn't throw it very well, but I stuck it out and I played. I threw it, and I can't even remember how far I could throw it, but it wasn't too far. But I was able to get my Letterman jacket, so that's all that mattered. When you're in high school, that's all you want. You just want your jacket, So yeah. So that was the extent of it. Yeah. But well, there you go. So that was the athletic career of Tony Gomez. So
now, are you an all sports guy when it comes to Texas, or are you just looking at football?
Yeah, I like football, but I'm not and I grew up watching the Cowboys. But like I always say, I'm a Cowboy realist. I know when we have a team and I know when we don't have a team, and I'm going to take some grief for this. But
can you tell me when you have a team?
I can tell you, I just don't. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I just don't see the magic in this team that we have. I don't. I know that they're winning and this and that, but if we make it to the playoff, if we make it through the playoffs, and this team gets to the Super Bowl, I'll be the first one to admit that I'm shocked. And good for them. If they go, they go. And I'll be the first one to admit that, hey, I'll be surprised. But I'm predicting that they might win they might go too deep, but I just don't see this team going all the way. I really don't. I think Dak's a great guy. I think he is, but I just don't see it. I just don't see it, man. But I'll be honest. Do I see any big standouts in the league these days? I really don't, man. Look at Jalen Hurts over in Philadelphia. I just don't think that guy relates to his team at all. And there's just things that you got to look at in a quarterback. But man, I don't know what's going to happen in the NFL. Remember when we had Parody running wild? And
but it's going through it. You got to realize that a lot of these quarterbacks that we follow for years they're getting up there in age, and it's time.
And that's exactly.
There's you got a cycle now, and it's going to take some time to run through it. I mean, I'm a big Mahomes guy right now, man. I just like watching Mahomes play. But he's having his issues, and not even him sometimes. It's this freaking offensive line can't catch a ball when it's thrown to their numbers. I mean, you got a problem, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So now you got to look at how you do another year formation and change and switch. But you're right. I mean, there's a lot of guys. These guys are not, new blood's coming in, and we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, I got to be honest with you, man. It's anybody's Super Bowl right now. Of the teams that are playing, it's anybody's game right now, brother. It's anybody's championship right now, I think. But who knows? Who knows, brother? I can't predict the future.
So Anthony Rasicki says, Tony Gomez, I'm happy for you, but said you never
Oh,
made it to Lazona Palooza while with Espinosa Cigars.
he did or I didn't? I was there a few years ago.
A few years ago.
Yeah. Didn't
Oh,
we
but
see?
said, it says, Tony Gomez, I'm happy for you, but said, or maybe he said, but said you never made it to Lazona Palooza while with Espinosa Cigars. So maybe, Anthony, you missed them at one of them.
Yeah, I missed Anthony at one of them, I think, because I was there a few years ago. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah.
So what about music? What do what's your music genre?
Man, my music choices, brother, they go from one end of the spectrum all the way to the other. I mean, I start my music of choice basically is rock and alternative. That's where I grew up in the 90s, and I was born in 69. So that puts me as a kid growing up in the 70s, and I had two older sisters and an older brother. And I
So
was the youngest
you
of
had
four.
Zeppelin, Stones, all of that.
Absolutely, brother. My
It,
sisters were listening to everything from the bands you just mentioned, Zeppelin and the Stones, and Ted Nugent and Santana and everything. And then my grandfather was very, very much a part of my music influence. And my grandfather would listen to everything from Chuck Berry to Howlin' Wolf to everything from Hank Williams and Bill Monroe, bluegrass music and everything, even Jimi Hendrix and stuff like that. And then my sisters were listening to the Eagles, and my sisters were listening to all kinds of stuff. And then disco came about, and all that. They were listening to Donna Summer and all kind. And then of course the Bee Gees and all that stuff came out. And then of course my mom and my dad. We would hear stuff like Al Green and Billy Preston, and we would hear stuff like Curtis Mayfield and all that stuff, all the old R&B
oh, the blues
and
guys, man. So I'm a big rock and roll guy.
yeah.
Classic rock. I mean, I'm actually going to see the Stones in June for like the fifth
Oh
time in
man,
my life. And
look out, bro.
I can't wait. I'm taking my niece with me. She just started college in Orlando, and I was like, my wife didn't want to go. I said, good. I said, ask my niece at Christmas. I said, you want to go to a Rolling Stones concert? And my brother and my sister-in-law, my brother's an incredible guitarist and all of that. And he looks at me, he goes, what about, I said, because this is my goddaughter. And if I asked you to go, I only got one ticket. If I asked you to go, what about your wife? So the only answer is I'm taking your daughter. Okay.
There you go.
We're
Yeah,
going to introduce her to the music. But when I actually start to listen to music, I do know that when it comes to any of the classic rock stuff, it's always the blues that affects me the most. I can listen to
absolutely,
blues.
bro.
I can listen to blues 24/7. Okay. And when bands like the Rolling Stones and Led Zeppelin and others would go and do those bluesy tunes, that's what hits my soul.
Absolutely. See, I love stuff like Robert Johnson
Oh my God.
and
Yeah.
Albert King and stuff like that. And of course Stevie Ray, being from Texas, Stevie Ray's a big part of
Stevie
the
Ray.
scene. And I love ZZ Top and I still listen to a lot of stuff by Jimmie Vaughan that's put out his stuff with the Fabulous Thunderbirds. But I still like to follow other guys, that still come about every once in a while. Of course, I love Robert Cray, and I love Buddy. Like I said, Buddy Guy, and I love the stuff that Santana would collaborate on.
Oh man.
And I love old jazz. I love Blue Note jazz. I love listening to the old Miles Davis. With John Coltrane. And
The jazz is I like jazz. And I had a friend of mine in high school was he played a horn. And he was like he would take me out to this jazz club out in Long Island, smoke-filled place back in the day.
Yeah.
I was in high school. I didn't smoke anything, and it was like, but man, we got in because he knew people there, so we were able to get in, right? Because he could play, right? And I was like, okay, this is cool, whatever. But
Yeah.
years later, I was like, I got to go into a place with this jazz music, just sit back, it's relaxing,
Yeah.
and it's just what I love about it. It's just a mishmash of instruments that just seem to work together.
Yeah.
That when you think about the music behind it, you're like, oh, how does that even fit with that? And they make this beautiful sound come out of stuff.
Yeah. It has to be like, to me, like it's stuff that these masters of of music can put together, like old stuff, like the old Chet Baker stuff, and guys like Wynton Marsalis, and guys like that can do. Now it can easily just get ruined by guys that don't know what they're doing.
Right.
And like guys that get up there and think they can play right, and it's just like, no, man, these guys don't know what they're doing. These guys, all of a sudden, you get a trumpet player and a stand-up bass guy and a drummer and a piano player. And I've seen guys around town just like, oh no, man, you got to work on your chops a little more or something. And just because you learn the song doesn't mean you guys mesh together. So it can easily be, just like, so there's a reason that those old legends are the people they are, and, were the people that they were, and have, that old stuff. But
according to Lou Piscatelli, just makes it very simple. Great music, great cigar, and a whiskey is utopia.
Absolutely.
That was a band, I thought, Utopia. I think Utopia is a band. So I don't know if he's talking about the band.
Yeah. But and then there's a genre of jazz out there that I don't listen to. I don't listen to that, like what they called inner jazz. And look, I mean, for people who get into that, that's fine, that's good, but that wasn't my thing. Now, I love country music. I love like old Dwight Yoakam and Buck Owens and stuff like that, and George Jones, but like this newer wave of music, of country music, it's just not my thing. What you see on these country award shows, if these younger guys like it, good for them. But it's I'd rather listen to something else. But it's just like with anything else, change comes about, and sometimes some people are with it and some people aren't, and it's just something that it just doesn't really appeal to me. So but like, hey, if there's a market for it, good for them, man. But that's about. And like I said, a lot of alternative, a lot of hard rock, a lot of grunge rock from the 90s, just like anybody else, man. I was listening to it. I love Nirvana and the Foo Fighters and Alice in Chains, and that was when I was out running around in my heyday of the 90s, brother. I mean, so of course, I still listen to
Foo Fighters, man. Foo Fighters, they're still doing it. Dave Grohl is just.
Dave Grohl is a genius, man.
I mean, how can you just? I don't care what kind of music you like. The guy is a talented individual, right?
Oh, absolutely. He's a virtuoso, brother. Yeah. I mean, you can't deny a virtuoso.
Anybody would want him as a guest on their tour. He's the guy, right? He made a name for himself. Well, we are well past our hour, and
okay.
I wanna seriously thank you for taking the time out of your evening to come on the show.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. Yeah. The pleasure was all on this side of the lens, brother.
Yeah. So it's all good to talk about brands. If you've never tried Jake Wyatt, please go out there and check out their website, JakeWyattCigars.com. You'll see more of that coming as we go through the year. I'm sure you'll have some new things we're going to be showing.
We are going to be debuting our cigar at TPE called the Icarus. We cannot wait for you to come by. retailers, come by and check us out. We're going to be at the trade show, the Icarus. You'll be learning more about it as we get closer to the trade show. So didn't want to divulge too much about it, but to come see Jake Wyatt, guys. So, hey, little teaser there. So
Tease that again. Put that back up. Let me see that.
That's right. Jake Wyatt, baby, coming
Jake
to
Wyatt.
you.
Jake Wyatt.
That's it.
Pretty soon
That's
you're going to
it.
see Big Tony Gomez in a Jake. Oh, he's got a Jake Wyatt. Wow, you got a Jake Wyatt shirt
How
on.
about that? Yeah. So, yeah.
There you go. Okay. Very good. All right. Well, you kind of gave the last word, but I'll do it again. You get the last word.
So, Jake Wyatt Cigars, man, we got the new Icarus cigar coming out to you. I'll be teaching you a little bit more about it as we lead up to TPE. But, folks, it's going to be great. I cannot wait to debut it at TPE. And you are not going to be disappointed. So I want to say a big thank you to Boston Jimmie for always doing what he does, guys. Always tune in to his show, doing it out there like nobody else. So, Jimmie, thank you once again, brother.
All right. And thank you, everybody, for watching. And thank all the sponsors. Without them, the show is always a little harder to do. And that's it. And hope everybody has a terrific, if you have a long holiday weekend, enjoy it. I just learned that in my last 2 weeks of work that this is the first time they're actually giving us Martin Luther King Day off. So I actually get a holiday in the middle of my time to retire. So, okay, I'll take it. I'll enjoy it. So enjoy your weekend. With that, that's Boston Jimmie out, and we'll see you next time.